Hello. Today I feel like doing some shopping, and by that I mean using the Shopify connector. Let's get into it. Now, I have helped a company that was a brewing company and they use Shopify, so I have a lot of experience with Shopify. And I want to show you the basics, but then I want to show you some little nuances that I picked up along the way. So we're going to go to Shopify right here. We're going to pick the Shopify connector app. Now, I want to show you something. So when you click on this connector, what you're going to have to put in, you're going to put in your shop name. Hey, what is that thing? Well, if I hit this little question mark right here, it gives you an example. It says, enter the name of your shop as it appears in your Shopify URL. For example, if the Shopify URL is like domo.shopify.com, the shop name would be Domo. It's called a subdomain. So whatever's before that .shopify.com, that's what you put in here. Then what it's going to ask you, it's going to bring you to a login page. You have to put in your credentials, username, password, login, all that stuff. Hey, if you want to read more about it, you can go right here where it says learn more about the connector. And if I click that, I'm brought to this page. And here I can read about this. I could see what am I getting, but I could also go right here, read the power up guide. And that brings you to this page. And I'm brought here where now I can have a better sense of what is involved. Prereqs, knowing your name of the shop, your email and password used to log in, all these things that we have here. And we can see we have these different aspects that we can pull in. Okay, whatever. Let's go connect to it. All right, so once we've connected our Shopify account to Domo, now we can come here. And if you look here under report, we have different types of out-of-the-box reports, which are in that power-up guide that we can see. We have application charges, blogs, collects, all these pieces in here. The one that we're going to focus on today is just orders. This is one that's mainly used because this is basically your sales tool, right? It's collecting sales, processing, all this stuff. We're going to pick orders. Another one that you might want to look at later is customers. Right now, we're going to pick on orders. Now, we have this thing called a sub report. You can break this down by line item, all these pieces. We're going to pick none. There's something that you should know from here. Now, what I mean by that is if you have an order ID 12345, and let's say that a customer bought 5 things in that basket. While the item may be listed, the 5 items might be listed individually, the total will always be the same. So you can double count, triple, quadruple count. You know what I mean? Like if you bought 5 items that were each 20 cents, your total line item price might be $1, but it might show 5 times because it's showing for every single row and you would cause a double count. So be wary about that if you're picking line items. You just want to, I'm just doing orders because I just care about the total. I don't really care about the item breakdown yet. So I'm just gonna do that. Anyway, helping you not hit the pitfalls that I hit when I did this before. Okay, then we have our date filter. We're gonna pick on the date that the order was created. Financial status, you could pick if you want paid, refunded, all that stuff. We're gonna say I want everything. I don't care. And now what we can do is we could pick on a date and we could say, hey, what date do I want? Do I want a specific date? Do I want a relative date? And if I say relative, I could do something like give me 730 days back, which would be 2 years ago, until 1 day back. So it's going to be a rolling period rather than just a data set that's going to grow forever. I don't want to deal with that. Status, again, if you want anything that's open, closed, you could pick that. Fulfillment status, same thing. Beautiful. We're going to hit next. You can run it every day, manually, whatever you want. Remember, time zone on the left is British time. On the right is your time zone. So I'm in Chicago. I'm going to pick standard 6 a.m. time. And I'm going to name this. And this is the naming convention that I like to use. You do not have to do this, but I like to say organization. It would be sales. I'm picking Shopify as my source. And I put another pipe and I do orders. This is my way. You do not have to do this, but I think naming conventions are very, very important. And there we go. And I'm going to hit save and run. All right, it ran. Let's go take a look at the data that we have. I'm going to go hit data at the top right here. And let's see what we have. We have an ID. Now, this is not an order ID. This is not an order number. This is just an internal ID, basically for every row. We have some email of here, right? We have a date that it was closed. Okay, a bunch of things. The created date. That's the main one that I want. When was the order made? Updated. I don't really care about number. Sure, we have that. We're going to see order number later, though. I don't really care about this. Gateway, that's kind of ish important sometimes, depending what you use it for. Okay, there is something that I want to go over, very important. So I had to learn this the hard way. there's something called watch this. If I type in the word price, you're going to see what I'm talking about. There's price, there's subtotal price, total line item price, total price USD, line item price. What is all this stuff? Now, I learned this. Total line item price is mainly the one that we used when I was helping somebody with this, because total price is after discounts and stuff like that. And sometimes what we just want to see is, I just want to see kind of the main number, not with any discounts in it. So we had to learn total line item price was the one for us. That was like our gross revenue. Again, you can do what you want, but I'm just giving you a heads up. That's what that is. And I also want to show you something else. Yeah, so we have discounts right here, and total line item price is before the discount was applied. Let's go double check that though. Let's see if I put in the word total, maybe that's what I'm looking for. We have total price, cool. Let's look at the 74 one. So we have, yep, there it is, 488 minus 74 gives me 414. So total line item price, that's what we learned. That was the one for us to use. Okay, so in addition to total line item price, there are some other ones that I want you to see. Order number, order number. Now, this is the order number that's tied to your usual Shopify POS systems. This order number is, if you're checking on Shopify, I would highly suggest you run a report in Shopify and you double check the numbers just to make sure what you're seeing in Domo match exactly what you're seeing in Shopify or any type of system. That's what I always recommend. We do that. Cool. There is one more thing that I want to see if we have in here. Currency. Okay. This is something very important. Now, I'll give you a story. When I was doing this before, we ran a report in Shopify for a certain month, and then we ran the same thing in Domo for the same month. And we found that we were a little bit off by like a couple $100, but every month we're just a little bit off. I'm like, man, what is going on? Why is this happening? And there were two reasons. One was the currency, right? We had assumed everything was in US dollars, but that's not necessarily the case, especially if you're selling all over the world. And so you need to make sure you have currency so you could do a currency converter. And let me explain something. When you're doing a currency converter, you can't just have a number and apply that to every single day of the year. That doesn't work like that. So what I had to do, I had to make a currency converter. So I want to show you that really fast. I have this currency converter in Google Sheets, and you can see here I have the dates. I have USD to USD, which is obviously a dollar. I have AUD to USD, Australian dollars, euros to USD, pounds, Hong Kong dollars, whatever. Here's the formula that I'm using. I'm saying if A2, which is the date, is less than today, go use the index function, whatever, just follow us along. Use this function called Google Finance and give me the currency, AUD to USD, the price of it, A2, whatever, don't worry about it, comma two, this thing, otherwise give me this blank. Here's all I'm saying. I'm saying on this date, go tell me what a dollar was in Australian dollars. Go tell me what a dollar was in euros. Tell me what a dollar was in pounds. A dollar was a US dollar in Hong Kong dollars. And the reason why we want to do this is because you can see that even over the course of just a month, the numbers change a little bit. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because your currency, you might have to convert it based on the date to the correct US dollar amount or vice versa, whatever. Something so small, but that's one thing that we notice. Another thing that we noticed that I want to give you a heads up about is this. Do you see these little times that we have in here? We have these periods. You want to make sure you know what time zone you're pulling in. So that's why we have that order number. Here's the story. The second reason why we knew our numbers were off is when we said, show me a month. The numbers just were matching up because in Shopify, it did something where it rounds all the hours to like the closest hour or the hour that it starts rather than the actual time it's in. So this is very important because if we're using UTC time in Domo when we set our admin settings, now we're off by hours. So my 11 o'clock doesn't really mean it's maybe a British 11 o'clock, which doesn't mean the 11 o'clock in a central time, something like that. And that's why we were off. And we found, oh my gosh, there's been a time zone issue the entire time. So another little pitfall you want to avoid. Anyway, currency, time zones, that's it. But that's it. This is how we get our orders. Then what you could do is you could totally sum up total line item price. You could find your total revenue. You can get a distinct order numbers. You could find how many orders you've done. You could do average order value, a bunch of stuff. But anyway, that's an intro to the Shopify connector and a couple pitfalls that you can clearly avoid. And I'm showing you them that way you don't have to spend time learning the mistakes that I had to learn to make. All right. Good luck to you. And I will see you in the next one.